Yo, what's going on? Carver Wrenches TV. And we got another one blowing up the internet. And before we get into this video, make sure you like, subscribe, and share. And please leave all comments below. So we got Jason WHITLOCk once again going after Coach Prime. He letting us know that Coach Prime is committing coaching malpractice while Colorado. So let's get into this video.
Deion Sanders is putting on a coaching malpractice clinic, and no one's allowed to talk about it, criticize him, or correct him because he's black. That's my fire starter. And I love that fire starter. And I know that the Deion worshipers and groupies out there in the audience, Ticket TV, let me hand you a tissue because I know you're in the chat just crying right now. Oh, I can't believe Jason's criticizing Deion Sanders. He's 4-4, don't you?
Shout out to Ticket TV, man. Keep up the good work, my brother.
Oh, they only won one game last year. It's a miracle. They won 4 games. I've told y'all time and time again, Deion's not coaching last year's team. He ran those guys all off the team. They ran a stat on Saturday. There's one guy from last year's team who's playing. Deion ran them all out. He brought in 8.
I've been saying that since the beginning. When people were saying, hey, man, look at Deion. And again, I'm a Deion fan. Look at Deion. He taking this team from 1-11, and he's got them at 4 victories already. But I'm like, this is not the same team. Same uniform, but not the same team.
These 6 new players, include 50-some-odd players through the transfer portal. All this, oh, God, it's a miracle. Look at he's coaching a team that only won 1 game. He's not coaching that team. It's a completely different roster. And this different roster should be 2-6. This different roster has really only outplayed one opponent. That's every other game.
I got to kind of agree with Jason on this one. I mean, right now, Colorado is having a good season. But if you really break down their schedule, the only team that they manhandled was Nebraska. And that was a piss-poor performance by Jeff Sims. Outside of that, Colorado State, they could have lost that game. Arizona State, they could have lost that game. Mr. WHITLOCk is on point on this one. They have been played. They have been outplayed in some of their victories.
They've virtually been outplayed in. It's the most penalized team in the country. And I'm sure that's racism. I'm sure all the refs are going out there and just, we got to penalize Deion's team. We're racist. You know why I say that? Shiloh, Deion's other son, who's a pretty good player. I'm going to give it to him. So is Shador, pretty good player. I'm going to give it to him. But Shiloh executed a classic helmet-to-chin hit and got tossed from Saturday's game.
I thought it was clean, by the way.
And everybody's whining and crying. And I saw Des Bryant tweeted out, they tossed Shiloh out of the game, but they didn't toss that Henry Blackburn from Colorado State. Interesting. That's racism. The Henry Blackburn's the kid that hit Travis Hunter in the Colorado State game. That he got flagged for, but he didn't get tossed out of the game, is my memory. But you get tossed out of the game for targeting, helmet to chin, leading with the crown of your helmet. Henry Blackburn didn't do that. He did a late hit. Shiloh, and again, I don't like the targeting rule. I think it's overused. I like the old school football. But the rules stipulate if you lead with the crown of your helmet and it hits this chin and neck area, You get tossed in the game. This isn't an example of the refs picking on Shiloh. This goes on every weekend during college football season. White kids, black kids, I've seen them all get tossed over that hit. I don't like it, but it is the rules. There's a bunch of these rules I don't like. I don't like how much they call pass interference, illegal contact, all that other stuff. But it's...
Let me say this. Once again, I got to agree with Mr. Whitlock. The rules, especially the targeting rules, definitely changes the outcome of a game. You have a star linebacker, a star corner, a star safety, and he comes flying up unintentionally and hits somebody in the head, and now he's ejected out the game. I really think they need to change that and go to a two penalty rule. First rule, a warning, 15-yard penalty. Second time you do that, it's an ejection.
Part of the game, you have to accept it. That's the way the game's played now. But to sit here and act like the refs are picking on Colorado. They wanted to throw Deion's son out the game. We just sound like idiots. Quit the worship of Deion. He's unworthy. There's none of us walking this planet who are worthy of this type of worship.
But is it worship or is it support? I get what Mr. Whitlock is saying, but is it that he's just getting a lot of support, and especially from celebrities, would make it seem like it's coming off as worship? I don't know. Mr. Whitlock seems to suggest that the black community is worshiping Deion, and he's at the point where we cannot criticize him. But hey, man, that's just Mr. Whitlock's point.
I get that he's 4-4, but this is not a great coach. I didn't even play the clip. He threw the offensive coordinator under the bus. I think I can read that to you. Threw the offensive coordinator under the bus. It's everybody's fault but Deion's. If anybody ever tells an accurate story about what's going on at Colorado this year with the players and the assistant coaches, it would be an amazing story. Because there's a handful, half dozen players that are like, yeah, I'm cool with Deion. And then there's the rest of that team that says, wow, this whole thing is about Deion. Then it's about Shador. Then it's about Travis Hunter. And then it's about Shiloh. And everybody else can go to hell. But this is really about Deion. Here's what he said. Someone asked him about Sean Lewis, their offensive coordinator. Here's Deion's answer. You can't put me on the spot like that. I think the coaches are doing a pretty good job. Thank you. That was a great try, valiant effort. You got to understand, I sat in your seat for like 17, 18 years, so I got to know when it's coming. Someone asked you about someone on your team, a coach that you hired, and all you can say is, you can't put me on the spot like that.
Well, I understand where Deion was coming from. There's no need to throw your coach under the bus in front of the press. I'm pretty sure Deion is upset the way the offense has been flowing, especially with the offensive line. So I understand why Deion made a statement like that. Could the statement been better? Of course it have. But I respect Deion for not throwing his offensive coordinator under the bus.
That's what you're saying is, yeah, he's doing a terrible job, but I can't answer that question. I'll get in trouble. He just did that to his offensive coordinator, as if his offensive coordinator hasn't been given specific instructions by Daddy Dearest. You throw that football and showcase my son, because that's what this is about. We don't want to run a balanced offense. We don't want to do the things necessary to allow this offensive line to grow and develop. That's why you run the football all season. You don't abandon it, but you run it all season. And I think, according to our stats, I believe in this 5-game stretch where they've gone 1-4, the running backs have averaged 4.2 yards per carry. That's more than respectable. That justifies the running backs running the ball in a college football game 25 to 30 times per game. And when you're in a dogfight and you've won the turnover battle 4-0 in the first half, that probably justifies running the ball 35 times over the course of the game. And I don't care if you're only averaging 3 yards per carry. When the other team has pass rushers like UCLA, you can't telegraph, you can't let the opposing defensive coordinator.
Mr. Whitlock is right. And this is what I've been saying, what I've been noticing, and what I want to pay attention about with Coach Prime is his coaching adjustments. Can he make adjustments? Again, if you go back and listen to my previous videos, I said they did not adjust to the shallow crossing routes. And again, here's another situation coming up. You need to adjust and alleviate some of this pass rush. Why not go to double tight end? Why not put shallow on the center? Why not go I formation with a fullback? Why not go play action? Anything to alleviate the pass rush that Shedeur is suffering each and every game. You know, this kid was hit 17 times, had to take a shot at halftime. So Coach Prime and his offensive coordinator need to come together and make some type of adjustment to help Shedeur out facing this pass rush.
And the guys on that defensive line know, 90% of the time, this is going to be a pass play. You're putting your offensive line in a bad spot. You're putting your quarterback in a bad spot. This is unbelievable coaching malpractice. This is embarrassing. And the fact that no one will call it out, that people that have played the game and people that have an understanding of the game. I mean, many of these athletes don't. I mean, they don't have a full understanding. Guys that played out on the islands, wide receivers, corners, a lot of times defensive linemen, they don't have any idea. That Warren Sapp going to be mad at me for saying that. Warren's different, but they don't have any idea. Running backs a lot of time have no clue what's going on. But people that played safety, middle linebacker, center, quarterback, offensive line, they understand the big picture. That, hey man, even if we're only picking up 2 yards, it's important for us to run this football, to back these defensive linemen off, that they have to think, because again, you have gap responsibilities that are really important in a running game. Defensive linemen do. You have to stay in your gaps when you're facing a running game. When you're facing a passing team who doesn't have a super mobile quarterback, gaps become far less important. If you're facing a quarterback in this Lamar Jackson, yeah, you better stay in these rush lanes. Make sure you keep contained. Make sure you stay in your gap. That's all important. But when you're facing Shedeur, who looks like he runs a 4.85, he's a little bit mobile, but he ain't going to kill you in the running game. You can get him. Now, gap responsibility is less important, and just getting into the backfield and just disrupting the quarterback as fast as possible. That's all that matters. And how you get there.
He's right. If you go back and watch that UCLA game, and if you get a chance to go watch the highlights, I mean, the pass rush, I mean, Shedeur had no chance to step up in the pocket. I mean, the times that he made some accurate throws. The pass he threw for the touchdown was a pretty pass, but again, Dion and them have to figure out some way to alleviate that pressure. I mean, it's just coming at a pace that, I mean, they say the average is 2.5 seconds to throw the ball. I mean, Shador is probably at 1.5. Again, man, I want to see some tight ends. I want to see some I formation. I want to see some real coaching adjustments by Dion over these last couple of weeks to his secondary and to the offensive line.
Doesn't really matter. You inch over into somebody else's gap. If you cross the center space or cross the guard space when you're not supposed to, but doesn't matter. Because that guy just wants to throw the football. He's not looking to hurt you with his leg. There's no running game coming. There's nothing. And so I'm looking at people on social media and people that allegedly know something about the game. Oh, they should have run screens. Oh, they should have did this. They should have tried this pass. They got to blah, blah. You got to run the football. You got to get your offensive linemen into the game by letting them be physical with the other team. You have to establish a running game so you can run some play action pass. I'll never forget. The best defensive player in the Mid-American Conference during my time was a guy named Joel Smingy. I've talked about him before. 6'6", tremendous pass rusher, but could be handled very easily in the run game. And he put a clown suit on me in the passing game. And the only shot we had was we'd run these plays 22 and 23. It was some kind of play action pass. We faked the running game right at him and then dropped back to pass. And then we had a chance because I could get my hands on him. And once I can get my hands on him, I could manhandle him because I was just...
Say what you want to say about Mr. Whitlock. He's very controversial. But the man knows football because he played it. He played at D1 level. I know people are very critical of him, saying that he's jealous of Dion. And his statements and sometimes his critique of Dion may come off as jealousy. But the one thing you can't take from the man, that he's played the game, he's understanding that Dion does not focus on the running game. You know, like he says, they run 10 plays, none of them are passing. The defense can almost know what you're doing. So, I mean, we can come after Mr. Whitlock with all type of negative words, but the man know what he's talking about. Colorado must find a running game.
Stronger than Joel Smingy. But when we just dropped back to pass, it was curtains. It was over. And so I'm looking at Dion. They never established the run. They never went to a play action passing game because they never established the run. Shador just does the same thing over and over again because Dion's showcasing him for the NFL and trying to pad his stats. Take Dion off the pedestal. This is coaching malpractice that will end in disaster. Dion's going to be pointing fingers at Colorado. Colorado's going to...
I'm going to keep it real. I said this at the beginning of the season, and I told a good friend of mine, you know, when we was just out back chilling, that I felt like Shador is holding the ball to keep his stats high. You know, the NFL is not going to be concerned so much about the pressure and the bad offensive line play because they feel like they can alleviate that by drafting and signing players around Shador. I think Shador at times, and it's just my opinion, he's looking for 80% completion ratage. 80% completion rating. He's also looking for a high touchdown with a low interception ratio, which to me makes him hold the ball. He's not really looking to throw the ball in a one-on-one situation because the ball has a probability of being knocked down or intercepted. But I'm just outside looking in. And I said this game 2, game 3, that Shador at times calls sacks upon himself by holding the ball. he will not get rid of it. So I think Shador needs to understand to help his offensive line throw the damn ball away.
Pointing fingers at him. Those kids in that locker room are miserable. They know that their head coach is favoring a handful of guys, particularly his son. What head coach takes his son and star defensive player to an NBA game during a week of prep? Who does that? It's crazy. So they can be seen and talked about and sitting courtside. Look how cool we are. Do you understand? You should have been taking one of those offensive linemen or two of them to the game and building them up and begging them to care about your son, because trust me, right now in that locker room, those offensive linemen couldn't care less what happens to Shador Sanders. They're not going to go to war for him.
And especially after the critique from Skip Bayless and the game call from Kurt Hurstreak, you know, these kids are going to hear those things. And again, man, they're 18 to 22. And their job is to protect Shador. And when I hear things about these kids couldn't even play at a Division II level, that they're horrible, I just didn't like that, because I feel like Coach Prime is not putting these kids, and especially in the offensive line, in the best situation to win. You're 4 and 5 wide receivers. Your running backs have proven they can't pass block worth of shit. And you're just putting the offensive line, again, 85 to 90% of the time in a bad situation. And the dam just keeps breaking and the water just keeps coming in. And like I said in my last statement, I want to see some coaching adjustments with this offensive line.
They're not going to go to war for Deion. They know Deion is out looking to replace them. Deion just blamed them for everything and took no responsibility for what he's doing. And the whole media is rigged up so that everybody's afraid to say anything about Deion. Do we have the... I got to be careful here because I'm running out. But do we have there's a Ryan Clark clip of him.
I'm going to stop it right there. If you want to catch the rest of the video, you know, go to Jason Whitlock page, Fearless, and you can watch the rest of the video. But before we get out of here, I just want to say, I hear what Jason Whitlock's saying about taking the star players and his son to a basketball game. I would love to see, in a situation like that, you have the whole team. I think everybody deserves it. Everybody has contributed to their 4 victories. So it would have been nice to see the whole team there. Now, do I think it's some type of favoritism? Again, I don't have any proof, so I can't sit here and say that. But I will say this regarding the X's and O's and leaving the drama out. Deion must help this offensive line. Again, I want to see this offensive line get in 2 tight ends and play action, and let's see how Shador can work under the pocket. And until you can get your offensive lineman in, and I just don't believe getting rid of these guys. I believe they need to be coached up right, and that's what's going on more than just getting rid of them. I would like to see Coach Prime coach them up right. So yeah, man, we're gonna see. We got 4 or 5. I think we got 3 to 4 games left, and you know, a bowl game is hanging in the balance. And like I said in previous videos, I don't see them making a bowl game this year. The offensive line is bad, but it's not being coached up right, and there's just too many problems in the secondary. I'm not going to go off this UCLA game. I would like to see 2 or 3 games in a row before I say this defense can at least hold offenses down to respectable numbers. But yeah, once again, it's been Carver Wrenches TV. And make sure you like, subscribe, and share. And please, pretty please, leave all comments below.